Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into an incredible story out of Crown Heights, Brooklyn. It starts with something super simple, a classic lemonade stand, and evolved into a full-blown blueprint for community empowerment. It's an amazing journey from a small idea to a really sophisticated, sustainable system. So let's jump right in. This quote from a local parent, it just hits the nail on the head, right? It perfectly frames what this whole thing is really about. Look, this was never just about slinging a refreshing drink. It was about nurturing the next generation of leaders. All right, so let's start at the beginning. On the streets of Crown Heights. To really get why the solution is so brilliant, we first have to understand the challenge the community was up against, and the simple but really powerful idea that sprouted from it. So you've got to ask yourself, in a place as alive and vibrant as Crown Heights, what was the gap? What was the specific need that made someone say, you know what we need? A lemonade stand. Why was that the right answer? Well, what the project's founders saw was that a lot of the local young people just didn't have enough positive things to do. Real opportunities to build actual skills in a safe place. They realized kids didn't just need to be kept busy. They needed something that gave them a real sense of purpose. And that's where this brilliant idea comes in, the Crown Heights Lemonade Initiative. The goal wasn't just to pass the time, it was to literally turn the sidewalks into mini startup incubators. And the lemonade stand, that timeless, classic symbol of a first business, became the perfect vehicle for it. It was all about teaching entrepreneurship hands-on and building confidence from the ground up. Okay, so how do you measure success here? Well, the real proof of this program's success wasn't about the money in the cash box. It was all about the incredible growth happening in the kids themselves. This wasn't just a summer job. It was like a mini MBA on the sidewalk. These kids were learning 4 fundamental skills. 1, how to budget for their supplies. 2, how to build a brand for their stand. 3, how to actually market their product to people walking by. And 4, how to serve their customers and their community with pride. These aren't just business lessons, they're life skills. And this right here, this is what it's all about. This quote says it all, you see? It stopped being about lemonade a long time ago. This is about real, personal transformation. Watching a shy kid find their voice, find their confidence, that's how you know the model is working on a really deep, human level. Okay, so things are going great. But that brings a whole new set of problems, right? Every successful grassroots project hits this wall eventually. How do you keep it going? How do you grow? For this project, it meant they had to evolve from just selling lemons to building entire systems. And this success was being driven by some serious creativity. Get this, they weren't just selling your standard boring lemonade. They were creating their own signature brands, flavors like Cool Heights Cucumber and Brooklyn Blue Blueberry. That's a real business savvy right there. But it also created a brand new challenge. Yeah, that very success created a good problem to have, but it was still a problem. When you've got dozens of stands all needing fresh mint and strawberries and cucumbers for their awesome custom flavors, where are you going to get all that stuff? Finding it affordably, reliably, that became the key to growing, and it required a whole new way of thinking. So the answer was pretty radical. Instead of just buying the ingredients, they asked a bigger question. What if we grew them ourselves? And that led them to this amazing concept called aquaponics. It's basically a self-sustaining ecosystem where fish and plants work together. The fish waste acts as a natural fertilizer for the plants, and then the plants clean the water for the fish. It's this incredible closed-loop system. And this wasn't just some daydream. Nope, they actually drew up a full-blown blueprint for an urban farm. They designed a concrete, viable plan to take this thing to the next level, evolving the simple lemonade stand into a true community-wide system. But, the big question is, would this actually work for what they needed? Well, the research showed yes. Key ingredients for those signature flavors like mint, strawberries, cucumbers, they're all perfect for an aquaponics setup. And yeah, while growing lemons this way is really tough, the farm could absolutely provide that fresh produce that made the drink so special. So the fish are basically the engines of this whole farm, and choosing the right ones was super strategic. The plan focused on 2 types, tilapia, because they grow fast and they're really resilient, and catfish, because they're tough, and there's already a strong market for them in New York. So think about that. The farm wouldn't just be growing produce, it would have its own second revenue stream from selling fish. And to make this vision feel real, to ground it in reality, they got specific. The project identified a potential space, a 1,900 square foot warehouse right there in Brooklyn. Suddenly, this whole plan wasn't just an idea anymore. It was tangible, it was achievable. They knew exactly what they were aiming for. They even mapped out exactly how the warehouse would work, breaking it down into 4 key zones. First, you've got the fish tanks. Second, a whole filtration and sump system to keep everything running smoothly. Third, the grow beds, where all that delicious produce would come from. And finally, a packing and storage area to handle everything once it's harvested. It was a really smart, complete logistical model. And here's the business side of it, which is so cool. The entire system was designed to basically pay for itself through 2 different income streams. Selling the fish was projected to bring in about $5,500 a year, and the produce, sold back to the lemonade stands and to the community, could generate over $7,500. Okay, so we've got this big, kind of complex urban farm plan. How does that loop back to the kids selling lemonade on the corner? Well, this is where the story comes full circle. It's about harvesting a better future by connecting this farm right back to that original, simple mission. Because you see, the farm isn't really the point. The farm is the engine. It powers this sustainable, integrated cycle. It provides the fresh ingredients for the lemonade stands, and those stands, in turn, are what empower the youth. So with this one system, you're tackling skill building, you're creating food security, and you're building community wealth, all at the same time. It's this beautiful, complete ecosystem for social good. And that just leaves me with one final question for you. This whole sophisticated blueprint for an urban farm, it all started with this simple idea of helping kids sell lemonade. So it really makes you wonder, if a lemonade stand can grow into all of this, what simple ideas, what little seeds of change are just waiting to be planted in your community?